All right, here with former Saints tight end Benjamin Watson. All right, Benjamin, Drew Brees, Pro Football Hall of Famer, certainly has earned the honor, right?
Oh, of course he has. Are you kidding me? Like this is the moment we've all been waiting for. You know, the fact for him to go into the Hall of Fame, and excited for what we know is going to happen. But definitely one of the players that I think back over my career, and he's one of the guys that not only on the field, we've talked about this, but off the field, just who he is as a person, him and his family, made all of us better. But somebody I consider to be a real friend.
When you hear first ballot Hall of Famer, it's really hard to accomplish that feat. No other person in Saints history has done that.
Well, if there was anybody that was going to do it, it would be him, clearly. And not because other people weren't deserving, but when you look at his body of work, you look at how excellent he was at his craft, and then outside of that, what he meant for the city, and also what he meant for just the National Football League. I mean, you can't find a guy around the NFL that anybody's played against or played with that has anything bad to say, really, about Drew.
When did you ever think, I guess, when you played with Drew, that, man, this guy's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer?
Probably before I got to the Saints. Before I got there, I knew he would be. I mean, he has that sort of gravitas, the same way you think about like Tom Brady. And I came to the Saints in year 10, I think it was, the first time, 2013. And Drew was already Super Bowl champion. He was already the commander-in-chief of one of the best passing offenses that the league had known. And so from a football standpoint, he already had that reputation that was going to be his trajectory. What I didn't know, however, was how we would connect just as teammates and how he was in the locker room. I think that's what surprised me the most, and that's what you don't know about guys until you play with them. You don't know how they are as people, their personalities, and how they are every single day in practice. There are a lot of guys who have been really great players, but in practice, they weren't perfectionists. They didn't bring the energy. They didn't bring the drive. And I mean, I remember being there with Drew, and as an offensive player, I was in year 10 when I got there, but between him and Coach Payton, I got exponentially better at my craft being in New Orleans those 3 years. Those 3 years gave me an opportunity to play more in the rest of my career. And I was a veteran player by the time I got there.
Yeah. What about his leadership stood out to you? How he led as a player?
He has a different style. Like he's not, Tom Brady, he wears his emotions on his sleeve. You're gonna hear him yelling and screaming, and that's cool. Everybody's different. Drew was more reserved, but he led by example every single time, every single play, every single practice. Staying after, I'll give you this example. I get to New Orleans, and we have like a walkthrough on Saturday or whatever, and there's no lights on in the indoor facility. And I'm looking in there in the indoor facility, and I see this shadow, like out there. Looks like he's doing like, I don't know, martial arts or something. He looked like Mr. Miyagi, like he's just like doing stuff, in the shadows. And somebody was like, yeah, that's Drew. I'm like, what do you mean that's Drew? Like, yeah, he goes out there by himself, goes through the entire playbook, all the plays, goes through all, you've seen him, goes through all his progressions, points at everybody. That's just what he did. And I was like, man, this guy is different. This guy's different. And that's the type of excellence that he brought every single day. And he just brought a specific type of joy to the game of football that was really palpable. I mean, him staying, I'll tell you something else, like staying after practice, and it didn't matter if you were the starting tight end, the starting wide receiver, it didn't matter. He was going to make sure you got what you needed from him after practice. He wasn't worried about the snap count for his arm. He wasn't worried about being too tired. Like, we'd be like, Drew, you need to calm down. We got a game in 2 days. If you were a guy that didn't get a lot of reps in practice because you're the backup running back, he will let you run your swing route so that you can get a feel for catching the ball on your route. And he would say after practice and do that for guys. Like, everybody doesn't do that.
And you played with, obviously, Tom, who's one of the greatest ever. Do you think Drew is one of the greatest? I mean, do you consider him one of the greatest quarterbacks ever?
Well, yeah, that's why he's going to the Hall. Of course. He definitely is.
But he wasn't on the list of the top 100, like NFL's top 100 players, which kind of seemed like he got overlooked.
Well, lists are lists, and somebody's got to take a spot. It doesn't mean lists don't matter. They do matter. But there are a lot of people who might not be on a list. It doesn't mean they're not great players. And so I look at Drew Brees, and I look at the body of work on that offense. Also look at who he is and what he's done, outside of the game. And he'll always be one of the top players of all time in my book.
Have you kept track with the Saints? Have you seen much of Tyler Shuck, any of the team this year?
A little bit. Not enough to make a real good educated opinion. But I've seen enough, living in Georgia, they always want to put the Falcons on our TV. Like, whenever I talk, I'm like, golly, well, I got to see the Falcons. Like, I'm trying to see the Saints. What's going on with this? So I haven't seen a whole lot of him, but I have seen enough to see, like, kid can play.
Being an SEC network analyst, LSU has Lane Kiffin. Just how wild was that story, Lane going to Ole Miss, to LSU, and what he's done so far in that recruiting portal and getting even Sam Levitt, the top quarterback?
Yeah, I don't want to make LSU people mad at me. But I hope it works out. I do. I didn't like the way things went down. The way he left Ole Miss, the way, the social media, the tweets, it just drug out for me way too long from a respect the game and respect the process point of view. Lane Kiffin, you can't deny his expertise in coaching. Like, you can't deny the fact that he was able to go to Ole Miss, assemble a team of mostly, transfers, be on the cusp of a playoff berth last year. His team, although he didn't coach it, went to the playoff this year. And so you can't deny the fact that he's a good coach. He hasn't proven yet that he can win a playoff game or win a championship. He hasn't done that. Doesn't mean he won't do it, but he hasn't done that. And so for me, the process was difficult to watch and difficult to report on all the time. That being said, man, I think that's a great catch for LSU as far as a coach who understands the region, understands the portal, understands the new landscape of college football, understands how to use NIL, because that's what it's about right now in college football. It's about how do you maximize your talent this year, not develop talent from 2 years ago. How can you maximize it this year? And Lane Kiffin knows how to do that, and offensively, he's got one of the best offensive minds. And so it'll remain to be seen if he can bring a championship to Baton Rouge. For LSU fans, which I have a lot of them, I hope he does for them. I hope he doesn't as a Georgia fan. You know what I mean? But the biggest thing I think LSU got was a guy who understands the SEC and understands how to navigate this era of college football that we're in.
I think it's going to be fascinating to watch.
Oh, it's already must-see TV. ESPN literally spent blocks of time on Lane Watch, and so there is going to be the aspect of increased media exposure for LSU and for the team. And, there'll be guys that just want to come play for him, especially quarterbacks and offensive players. I mean, you look at his last quarterbacks, they've been some great players. He's had some good offensive players. The question just remains, when you bring all those guys in, can you turn that into success in the playoff? And that's what LSU is forking over a lot of money for him to do.